Now it is my honor to introduce Her Excellency Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, State Councillor of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar. Madam, the floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking our hosts, the Government of Vietnam and the World Economic Forum for organizing this event. Myanmar is one of those countries that have been practically bypassed by the third industrial revolution, and we have been forced to plunge straight into the fourth one. The activity that is usually associated with latecomers like us is leapfrogging. But dynamic colleagues have objected to this term, saying that what we have been engaged in is not mere amphibian hops, but quantum leaps. Because quantum leaps are absolutely necessary for countries like us, which have been left behind by events over the past few decades. When I say that we have been engaging in quantum leaps, let me give you a very concrete example. 5 years ago, the price of cell phones in my country was about $1,500. Now it has dropped to about $1.5 US dollars. And access to broadband has leaped from a little under 1% to 105%. That is in 5 years. I think we can be justified in saying that this has been a quantum leap. One quantum leap leads to others. Because of our access to cell phones and we have been able to progress in unexpected directions. For example, Myanmar is not a country where we have had what you might call a banking culture. Our people think that their money is more secure under their mattress than in a bank. But from this stage, we have got to the point when we think that we can forge ahead and make the unbanked bankable because of the familiarity that our people have been able to forge with cell phones. Many of the cell phones that our people are using now are smartphones. About 30% are smartphones now. And again, this has happened over a very, very brief period. But it is not just banking, it's also with commerce. We believe that we will be able to progress very quickly, not to e-commerce, but to social commerce. Access to the internet for many of our people is through cell phones and not through other methods. But this has been so quick and so widespread that we think that we have not been left behind in the fourth industrial revolution. How has this come about? It started in a very practical way. We did not believe in protectionism. We opened the market to healthy competition. And this was the reason why access to broadband has become cheap and quick and easy for the great majority of us. So it is practical need as well as confidence in our people, in our human resources, because we believe that competition is healthy. We are not afraid of competition. If we are going to be afraid of competition, we will not be able to catch up with all those countries which have been more fortunate than ours and which are well ahead of us in the fourth industrial revolution journey. We believe that our people are capable of coping with the challenges. And that brings me to what we see as one of the most important aspects of the fourth industrial revolution, the human factor. Dr. Schwab has placed emphasis on it, saying that we must not lose the most valuable human assets. That is to say, he identified creativity, empathy, and stewardship. So our approach to the fourth industrial revolution is based on our belief in the creativity, the empathy, and the stewardship qualities of our people, especially of our young. The fourth industrial revolution is often associated particularly with the young, but I think it is associated with all of us. We talk about seamless connectivity between regions, between sectors. I think we should also think about seamless connectivity between the ages, between the young and the old and the middle-aged, because we all have to work together if the fourth industrial revolution is to be a success for humanity, not for any particular country or any particular region, but for humanity as a whole. Our approach to the human factor is to invest as much as possible in our people, the young as well as the old, not the ones for whom the education sector is wide open, as well as the ones for whom the education sector seems to have closed, the old who have not been able to get a decent education. We want to open up opportunities for them as well, because we believe that all our people will have a part to play in making the fourth industrial revolution a boon for humanity rather than a curse. With every industrial revolution, there has been a requirement for skill change, and that, of course, is education. We have to teach our people new skills, and we have to give them the confidence to face the new learning experience bravely and with the resolution to succeed in this. In the past, ASEAN countries, particularly the less developed among them, have relied on low-skilled labor to attract foreign investors to come into their shores. But now we have to take a different approach. We have to seize the opportunities that the fourth industrial revolution has to offer. ASEAN countries have to be prepared with the right knowledge and skills. The education system of a country is considered crucial in how best we face the challenges of our times. And we want to learn from countries all over the world. I am particularly happy that Professor Schwab is from Switzerland, because we look to Switzerland as the model of vocational training. Education has not been mentioned very widely by those who have spoken this morning, but we think that we need to shift the emphasis in education to practical skills rather than just academic qualifications. In our country, especially, where there's a great need to overcome the gap that has grown up between us and the more developed countries, we need to concentrate on the practical aspect of education. And by thus concentrating on the practical aspects of education, we will be able to provide all our young people, not just the privileged ones, but the young people from the rural area who have not had the privilege of conventional education to keep up with the rest. Youths with innovative ideas must be encouraged to believe that they are part of the fourth industrial revolution, regardless of their academic qualifications. The data from previous sources have shown that nearly 50 to 75% of the implementation of new technologies have failed in terms of quality and reliability due to neglecting the human factor. We cannot afford to fail because we're already so far behind. And when I say it, I hope that I'm speaking not just from Myanmar, but all those least developed countries which are I do not like to say the tail end, but which are not quite at the head of the fourth industrial revolution race. There is a lot of talk about the right kind of entrepreneurship, but I have not been quite sure whether we are talking only about entrepreneurship as regards commerce and industry and trade, or if we're talking about entrepreneurship as a nurturing process, nurturing new sectors to develop and new sectors to catch up with those who are ahead of them. So it's stewardship, what Dr. Schwab referred to as stewardship, is what I think is necessary in not just in our commercial sector, but throughout our country. And this stewardship has to be linked to creativity and empathy. Unless we are creative, we will not be able to meet the challenges of a completely new era, which we had never anticipated 50 years ago. Now that we are facing the challenges of this new era, we have to be creative. And in Myanmar, we have the strength of the creativity of our young. Our education system has not been strong over the last several decades, but yet we are beginning to see that our young are very strong in creativity, and in spite of the fact that we have invested so little in research, the research capabilities of our young people is quite astonishing. We hope that before long we will be able to prove to the world with specific examples rather than with a general assertion that our young are strong on creativity, which of course is at the basis of meaningful research. Systems do not create themselves. There are teams of experts behind every new idea, and engineers are required to convert the ideas into a working system. So creativity has to be linked with practical skills and a practical approach to make our creative talents marketable. We cannot avoid talking about markets in a World Economic Forum. So we put a lot of emphasis on the need to make the talents of our young people marketable. Marketable not just for the sake of making money, although that's a very important part of market processes, but for the sake of bringing our whole region together. ASEAN is a region where there are big development gaps. And we believe that by closing the development gaps, we will be helping not just the ones which have been left behind, but the ones which have gone ahead as well. I understand that the survey of the World Economic Forum has revealed that in spite of the adventurous spirit of the young, there is still great emphasis placed on stability, which means, in other words, on security. That, again, is part of the human factor, the human need for security. And we hope that our country will be able to tread our path along the fourth industrial revolution in a way that will be able to provide our people not just with financial security, but other types of security as well. The world will always need human ingenuity and human skills. Computers will provide us with mathematical solutions, but they wouldn't provide the judgments or the nuances. People will. So I would like to emphasize that our country would like to put emphasis on the human factor, of investment in the human factor, that we may be able to make our contribution not just in ASEAN, but in the world at large. The fourth industrial revolution was not something we dreamt of, but we do know what happened with the previous industrial revolutions. And I wonder whether anybody has done any research into what difference each industrial revolution has made to the intelligence quota of human beings. Has it really increased? And how about the EQ, the emotional quota? Has that also improved with each industrial revolution? I'm not unaware of the fact that the second industrial revolution took place just before the First World War, which was a catastrophe for humanity. So as we talk about revolutions, we also have to think about the aims of the revolution, of each revolution. What is the aim of our fourth industrial revolution? Is it simply to make our world a better commercial place, or is it to make our world a better place altogether? And I think this is something that we all have to discuss together. And I'm very grateful to Professor Schwab for organizing this event, which I think will provide all of us with an opportunity to find out what we can do to make the fourth industrial revolution a catalyst for bringing about a better world for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to stay.